In 1850, the debate over slavery had reached a boiling point. It seemed that the North and the South wouldn't be able to reach a compromise. But finally, in 1850, they did, and we now know it as the Compromise of 1850. There are actually 5 parts to the Compromise of 1850, which I symbolized with marble cake again, showing that both the North and the South had to give up a little bit of what they wanted to reach an agreement. The first part of the compromise is that California would be admitted as a free state. I symbolized this with the Statue of Liberty torch to symbolize freedom, and obviously the South didn't think this was the best part of the compromise, but again, they had to give up a little bit of what they wanted. The second part of the compromise settled a border dispute between Texas and New Mexico. Since we had just gotten this land in the Mexican War, we had to figure out exactly where each state was sitting. Next, the Compromise of 1850 upheld popular sovereignty in Utah and New Mexico. This usually meant that people had the right to create their own government. In this case, it meant that people would get to vote on whether or not they wanted to have slaves in their state. Over here, we have the Fugitive Slave Act, and this actually had multiple parts as well. The Fugitive Slave Act required that all people in the United States work to return runaway slaves. There would be a trial before it was determined if the slave should be returned or not, and judges were paid $10 to return a person to slavery and only $5 if they let that person go free. If you were caught not helping catch a runaway slave, you could be jailed or fined. Finally, at the top, the Compromise of 1850 banned the slave trade in Washington, D.C. You can imagine that Southerners were thinking they might be next. This compromise left both North and South frustrated that all their demands were not met. Another decade would prove that the debate over slavery could not be settled peacefully.